Tuscaloosa has nice places, but it's just kind of. If I was young, I'm not young anymore, but if I was young, I think I'd want to be Birmingham. Drive an extra 25 minutes each way, and but if you have a family, it really doesn't matter where you live. It's boring. So what about this information? Is it new to you guys? Is it kind of familiar? Have you guys ever seen some of these tools?
Just for the version, check the version.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it because my friend showed me, but on other stuffs I never see it.
Okay. So I hope some of this stuff is going to be useful to you guys. I think the longer you're here and the more you're asked to do, I think some of these tools will be helpful. And as long as you know you've seen them before, and you don't even have to remember where they were. You just have to remember, man, I know there's a tool on here that does this. You can ask me, you can ask Kevin, you can ask some of the guys that have been on the support team for a little longer, and they can show you. So that's kind of what my thinking is. As long as you've seen it, you know it's there, then we can find it.
Right.
Guys, I tried to stop by and get some breakfast this morning, but Dunkin' Donuts was closed, and so is Chick-fil-A. I guess because of all the snow. I don't know. It's insane.
I didn't see snow.
Yeah, it's a lot of snow.
Yeah, a ton. We're supposed to get 1 to 3 inches. Crazy, man. Stupid.
They got a mistake. That's fine for me. I hate snow.
Yeah, I hate it too.
Brazil is really hard to see snow. Only not a big quantity. I want to say is few cities have snow in Brazil.
Okay.
It's like 10 cities up.
The mountains.
Yeah, the mountains. Over here, everybody in Brazil. I would like to go there to see snow.
Yeah.
Oh no, you will hate it. It's beautiful just on TV, but when you be there,
It's fun when you're a
really
kid.
cold.
The last time I saw snow, I was in Mexico. It was in Saltillo. It snowed.
Really?
Yeah. It was really pretty one day, like maybe 60 degrees, and then the next day, man, temperature dropped and it snowed and it accumulated. There was some accumulation on the ground.
Right.
Maybe about that much.
It's normal to snow there.
Yeah, in Saltillo.
Yes, I live in Monterrey.
Yeah.
It's 1 hour from there. Yes, it's normal that it's snowing there.
Okay. I was like, it's not supposed to snow in Mexico. It did. And the guys were like, yeah, it's normal. It's normal. Is it vodka?
No.
What?
Tequila.
Tequila? What time do you guys want to eat lunch today?
11.
11 o'clock? Okay. I tell you what, if I'm going and going and it's 11 o'clock happens, let me know. Say, hey man, what did y'all do for lunch yesterday? Did y'all go out or did you bring your food?
I went to main cafeteria.
In cafeteria?
Yeah.
There's a there's a decent Mexican restaurant on exit 97.
They went there, right?
I like that place. It's a cool place. And then I think if you go back towards Tuscaloosa, a few exits, there's a Subway.
I saw the interstation. There is a
Cracker Barrel.
I like Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. And then right behind the plant, there used to be like on Highway 11. Do you guys know what Highway 11 is? It's directly behind the plant. There used to be kind of an authentic Mexican restaurant, but I don't know if it's still there. And then there's a place called Pottery Grill. It's barbecue. It's Highway 11 towards Tuscaloosa. Anyway, that's the only places I know close by, besides Mercedes.
Right.
So.
Close to.
Hmm.
It is close to.
Yeah, there's just not a lot
Yeah.
out here, man. Okay, so everybody's back. Okay, let's go over just a few more things. We got a few more tabs to go over. This is an important tab, and the version management is important. So let's go over these real quick, and then we'll get started with the material. The only thing, there's a few things on this monitoring tab that are important. This asset management. You know how like all your Profinet devices, they all have firmware, right? And they're all supposed to be a certain level of firmware. There's supposed to be 1.5, this should be 2.7, I don't know. But throughout the plant, we've got a lot of hardware. And let's say, hey guys, Mercedes has asked all these KP32 panels need to be updated to the new firmware. Well, you can use this asset management tab to show you where all your KP32 panels are. Okay, it's the same as, kind of works the same as the rest of them. You say it's roller bed or body shop, maybe in Z1 area. I want all these. Let's see what we have. Okay, so you can go through here and you can find all your KP32 panels. Okay, and it will tell you what line they're on, the firmware version. So you can see if there's any that need to be updated. It's a quick way to check. And you know, if you are starting to update them, it's a quick way to see who's been updated. Okay, and it's any Profinet device we have, you should be able to check this with. And even the IP address of all of them. So I think this one will be useful to you guys because I think you probably will be asked to change the firmware maybe. Okay. Does everybody know what I mean when I say firmware? It's okay. So raise your hand if you don't understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Say, hey man, what's firmware? Firmware is like when you get your phone update. They say, hey, you need to update to this new version. Well, a lot of times Siemens say, hey, you need to update to the new version, so you get this new functionality. Or maybe we found a problem that if you press both of these buttons at the same time, it totally screws up your machine. And we found a fix for it, and you have to load the software, they call it flashing, to the next firmware level to fix it. So they might say, Mercedes might ask you, hey, can you flash can you flash all the KP32s for us? And you say, yeah, man, no problem. But that's what you're doing when you do that. It's the same thing as when you upgrade your phone. Just one note of caution: when you do get asked, if you do get asked to do a firmware flash, you need to make sure that you don't lose connection with the device while you're updating it. Because if it's in the middle of updating the firmware and you lose connection, like maybe your computer goes to sleep or the cable comes disconnected, it can ruin the machine. So the first couple of times you do it, you need to make sure you do it with someone who's done it before. But I know it ruins these because I've ruined one before. I was flashing something and my computer wasn't plugged in, and it went to power saver mode. And when it did that, it cut off the communication, the Ethernet port. So all this information I was telling this guy, and then I couldn't even power this on. It was trash. And you can send it to the factory, and they can't even fix it. They're like, sorry, it's now a brick. So they call it bricking something. So it's anyway. Just be careful when you do it. Anybody who's flashed it knows, right? You got to be careful about that. So do it with a buddy first. Okay. Trending. I don't think anybody has access to add tags right now, but you can you can go to a you can choose. If you go to trending, you can choose a certain line, and they have different tags you can trend. You can look for the tag you want to trend, maybe for a problem, and it's probably not going to be in here. Okay, so if you want to trend maybe a few tags, you can tell someone in Kevin's group, hey, can you guys set this up so we can trend these 4 tags, because we're trying to find the problem and find which bit comes on first. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do, but if you call Kevin, he can add a tag for you. Then once it's added, like these tags are added. Then you can trend it a live mode of these tags, or you can trend a historical mode. So you can say, hey, I want to see it the last hour. And maybe they weren't running. But anyway, probably won't be too useful to you. But if you ever want to trend a tag, just let Kevin know what tags you want to trend, and we can come out here and set this up. But just know that it exists. And you can change the limits of these tags. It's just like, have you guys ever used any kind of trending software to troubleshoot a problem? You ever used a trend like this? It's similar. You add the tags you want. You tell it the x-axis and the y-axis that you want.
How did you add the text? How did you add the text?
How to pick the tags?
Yes.
So see this design tab? It brings up all the tags that have been configured for this PLC.
Okay.
And then you can just, if you want this tag, you just double click and it'll add it here.
Okay.
And then you can change the max y-axis.
So on the left side you have all the possible tags.
All the tags that have been set up.
Okay.
So what it does, when you add a tag, it adds it to this database and it'll start recording it in this database. But you don't have access to all the tags unless you ask Kevin. You say, hey Kevin, I want to trim this tag and this tag and this tag. Can you please set it up for me? And then he'll add it to the database, and then at that point it will start reporting information. So you can go back in time, or you can watch it real time. You can click this. See where it says historical trend? That means previous data. If you click the mode, I think that's supposed to say live data, live trend. I don't know. But then you can, right. And now you can see what's happening. And you can zoom in. Once you get some data, you can, I think you can stop it. You can zoom in and see, okay, so this one is happening first, and then this one, and then this one. And a lot of times that's the only way you can troubleshoot a problem is something like this. Any questions about that? You really, until you play around with the parameters and just know it's here and know it's available. That's kind of the okay. The next thing, operating journal. This is going to be important for you guys. You're going to get called out to a problem, and a lot of times maintenance and production, you say, hey man, tell me what happened. They're going to be like, I don't know, man. It just stopped. I didn't do anything. It happens because they don't want to be, they probably screwed something up and they don't want to be blamed for something. Anyways, it doesn't help you. It hurts you because you're there to find out what happened and how you can fix it, right? You're not there to blame somebody. Right. You're there just to get the machine running, right? So you don't care about the politics of all that. You just want to run. Okay. Well, let's say you come to your line, which is, let's say, SA63. Okay? And we're going to delete AS. We don't care about it. We just want SA60, 62, PLC1. That's your line, right? And we want to know what was done in the last, since between yesterday and today on the HMI. What did the operator press from the HMI? Because it records it all. Okay? And it looks like on this one, nothing. Okay, this is a bad example. Let's go back and let's go back a few days where we have some more data. Okay? Let's go back last week. Let's just say you got called out that day and something happened between, well, let's just get some data. Okay. This tells you everything they changed from the HMI. So, for example, this XPV, I think that's some kind of a buffer FG. They changed a free place out zone from 8 to 66, right? Okay, that's something that they didn't tell you about that might have caused the problem. Or at 4:29 p.m., they blocked the entrance. You know, have you guys seen that block entrance?
Yeah.
Block exit? And then at 4:59, they turned it back off. Okay? This will also show you, let's see another one. They turned ghost mode on and off, right, at this time. Uh, it will also show you if they move something manually. Like the worst is when sometimes it will happen. They'll move something manually and they'll get it in a bad situation. Like they'll move this clamp and then this clamp, and now they're not in the right sequence. But they won't tell you. But you can open this and you can see, hey man, at this time, this guy was moved to open, this clamp was open, this clamp was closed. It kind of gives you some information before you start troubleshooting if you didn't get the information you needed. A lot of maintenance guys will tell you, they'll say, hey man, I screwed up. I closed these clamps in the wrong order. But that's not always, you don't always have all the information you need. Let me find one where they did some manual movement. Here we go. Turntable. 40 DT is a turntable, right?
Mm-hmm.
At 6:34, it traveled to the rear position. They did it 1, 2, 3, 4 times in a row. Okay. Well, actually, they turned it on, turned it off, turned it on, turned it off. Then they went to position 1. 2 seconds later, and then went to position 2, and back to 1. So now you know what's kind of happened, and if you know, once you start learning the sequence, you know what needs to happen next or what didn't need to happen. What's okay? But this is called the operating journal.
Travis, for track that, is only manual or
It's anything that they've changed from the visualization. Now, if they go into step 7 and change some things, we don't know about it.
mm-hmm.
But if they opened up that detail window and clicked the button, if they jumped a step, it will show here. That's another very important one. Yes. Have you guys seen the sequence and seen somebody go to manual and jump a step to home?
A lot of time.
You can get screwed up really bad there if you don't do it in the right sequence, right? Well, this will tell you that as well. Let's see if we can find one of those. There we go. Set step. It tells you which sequence it was. XSK002. The old value we don't know, but they went to step 3. And then looks like 30 seconds later, back to step 1. Then 2 minutes later, back to step 3. So they've been playing, right? And maybe they told you about this, maybe they didn't. But when management comes to you, and they might say, hey man, what happened? Maintenance is saying nothing happened. What happened here? You can say, well, we're trying to figure it out, but there's some jumping in the sequence that happened, and that may have caused this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just so you have all the information you need. Right? Most of the time, they'll tell you, hey, this happened, but not always. Especially if they caused a crash. So can you guys see where this could be useful? I think this is one of the more important tools for you guys. Have you guys seen this before?
No.
Okay. It's called Operating Journal. And if you want to look, if you want to look at a different PLC, you just hit the design button, right? You can delete SA. Maybe add underbody, right? Underbody 72. You can even see when they hit the reset. Reset. Block X, scrap body. Change the step. Change some limiter values. Looks like they had maybe an RFID, DGT. That's RFID, right? They changed the variant information from JHKL to dot 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 dot. Now they ask you who was logged in. Who did this? We don't know. We can't. Doesn't matter. You can tell we can't find that information out. We just know that it happened. Okay. You guys have any questions about that? Gloria, what about you?
No.
No? You good?
Yeah.
You talk too much, man. Okay. This one is important. It's telegrams. Does anybody know what telegrams are?
Send to a NG and you send to the line.
That's yeah. So telegrams, it's how the PLC communicates with like this big supervisory system. So if the PLC, let me think of a good example of a telegram. If it had, like on the Z1 lines, there's cameras all over the place, right? The camera reads the body number, and it asks Plus. It says, "Hey Plus, here's my body number. Here's where I am. Tell me my TMU string," because the TMU string isn't part of that RFID, right? Does everybody know when I say TMU? TMUs? Okay. Actually, sorry. Wait. Make sure you hear. I think I pissed it off. Okay. Okay. So this is the DB for an RFID data. Okay. Has everybody seen this? Has anybody seen this? This is just when you have an RFID that reads. If you've ever looked at the hardware for an RFID, it can read. There's four different. It can read four different places, right? Well, this is where it stores when it reads the data. This is where it stores it. But the first thing is your body number, right? You've got an 8-character body number, but you've also got all these things that are called TMU, TMU1, 2, 3. There's 256 TMUs, and what those stand for is technical attributes. It means what is the car made? What is this car, right? If this bit is going to be high. This means it's a 167 car, right? The whole project is 167. This is always going to be high. But then, is it a X? Is it a C? Is it a V? One of these will be high, right?
Yep.
Is it a left-hand drive, right-hand drive? What kind of sunroof does it have? What load level is it? LL0, LL1? All these different attributes that the car consists of. Is it a hybrid? Right? Is it module 1? Is it module 2? So anyway, that's, is it a MyBach? Is it an AMG? All these bits mean something, but when the camera takes a picture of the car, the only thing it sees is these guys. Right? If you take your phone and you get a barcode scanner app on your phone, and you scan it, you're not going to see all this crap. You'll only see the body number. So we don't know based on this body number what the robot needs to do. Does it need to weld for a V or an X, right? So we have to ask Plus. We have to say, hey Plus, here's our body number. You tell us what this information is, and it will respond. You send it a telegram that says, hey, here's my body number. It'll give you all this. Okay, that's called an AVDV telegram. And there's a whole lot of different kinds of telegrams that we send Plus, and we wait for a response. And when we get that response, we do something. Okay.
Basically, the camera take a picture from here code, VR code.
Yeah.
Code, and then they save it for DDB. That's it. The camera take a picture from the code.
Yeah.
Right, and then save, process the information, and it tell me on DDB which car I am.
Oh, I don't know. When we take that picture,
Right.
then we tell Plus.
All right.
So, because that number doesn't mean anything to us, right? It's just an 8-digit number. We send Plus a telegram, which is just a big block of data. We send it to Plus. He responds back. He says, "Okay, I got your number, and here's all your information." Let me show you what I mean. It might make more sense. Okay. So let's use our portal. And let's remember how we can go to any HMI we want. Let's go to underbody. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Plus telegrams, okay? So this is our Plus FC. We're going to go to our telegrams, and we want to say, hey, okay, they already have it. Show me the last AVDV that we sent. Okay, an AVDV is just, it tells Plus, when we send an AVDV, it knows it's looking for this information, our body, right? And it's going to respond with an EVDV. This is our question, this is our response. And he says, hey, for this number, here's all your TMUs. 0001. Okay? And we're going to take that information and we're going to store it here. 0001. This is going to be 1 now, right? And so now in your sequence, if you're looking for a type X or C, then you're looking this DB at one of these bits. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's see. 0001. Then 00000001. So let's see what that one is. 000001. That car we asked about was a Type V. Okay. But there's all kinds of telegrams we send Plus, and the longer you're out there, you'll learn what telegrams are important for your line. Okay? Because once the body has an RFID data, you don't have to ask Plus really anymore what this data is because it's stored on that puck. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? That
Sometimes we got to overdrive on first.
right, because on the skid, that's right. On the skid, have you noticed at the back of the skid, there's that little hole cut out, and there's that little disc.
Yeah.
That's your RF. That's where your RF. That's where your body data is stored. It's RFID, right? And then you've got those little turquoise or teal colored readers. Those are readers, and they read that data in each station, so the body knows what's going on, right?
Is that the Balufi?
Hmm.
Is that a Balufi system?
Baluf. It's
Or similar?
Pepperell and Fuchs. You know the brand, the company, PE. I think it's pepper, like the condiment with an L,
Mm-hmm.
and Fuchs. This is a German company.
Okay.
But
It's similar Balufi.
man, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Right? They're all just RFID data that's read and write. That's it.
Right.
But anyway, that's kind of how those are used. But that's one way that we use plus telegrams. Okay, and sometimes you want to know what did we send plus and what did plus tell us, right? If there's a problem. So you can go to this iPortal. You can click on the monitoring. You click on telegrams, and then you can go to your line, HC61. You can set the time you want, and it will look at all the telegrams that were sent and received to plus.
Trace, is there a way to check specific body number? Like I have a body number and I want to know the type.
Yes, good question. Okay, so let's say this UEVW, that's a heartbeat. It's saying, hey, every 30 seconds, the PLC is just going to check to make sure the connection is good with the plus server, right? That's all that is. So that's kind of a. Let's find a different one. All right. So Leonardo, that's you, right? Leonardo just asked, hey, what if I want to check the AVDB for a particular number, right? So here's the HC61. We've got it filtered on AVDBs, right? But we want to know if there's a special number they used. You can scroll over and you can check. Here's all the ones we asked about. Okay? So you can say, let's say you cared about this one, 319, right? And you can say, okay, we at 10:30:46 we send this ABD telegram for that guy. And let's also show the EVDBs, that's the response. And a lot of these, you're just going to have to remember them. And over time, you'll know an AVDB, I know what that is, and the EVDB is the response. Right now, they're just random letters, right? But eventually they'll make sense. So here's the response, the EVDB. He responded in the same second. It's pretty much immediate, okay? And he said, hey, that's my body number, and this is the TMU string he came back with. It's a big string. But just know there's a telegram monitoring system. So you can see everything that we sent back and forth to plus, to AGV, and to MOPSI. You guys know what MOPSI is? If you're in Z1, MOPSI is important. In some areas, it's Z2. But MOPSI is another system that you tell MOPSI when you need another rack of parts. Okay. So like, does everybody know the engine compartment line? Engine compartment has a lot of racks that the forklift driver is bringing those racks of parts to, right? And how does he know? How does he know when the parts are needed? Well, there's a system like Plus. It's called MOPSI.
The yellow devices.
Yeah, but they don't have to press it. It's automatic. This one's automatic. The PLC knows when the robot takes that last part, it sends a telegram to MOPSI. It says, hey MOPSI, we need a part for this rack. And then the forklift driver gets a little notification, and he goes, gets the parts and brings them. But you can monitor all those kinds of data through this this Telegram tool. And the longer you're on your specific lines, you'll know what telegrams you need to care about. Because it's going to be different for Z1, Z2, and Z3. They all have different needs for information. Okay, but you can monitor all that data through this log. Does BMW have a similar type of system where it asks, like a supervisory system, what to do? Like sometimes it might be as simple as, do I need to turn left? Do I need to go this way or this way? Right?
Usually we use it for in paint shop.
Yeah. Routing.
Use it body track all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He work, he goes straight, go to buffer 1, buffer 2, all the time.
Yeah. And that's all it is, because this system in the sky, it knows everything, right? It knows where the cars are, it knows everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same any automobile factory you go to, they have something similar.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to have somebody who knows, Big Brother, they got to know. Okay, any questions on that? It's a lot of information. You don't need to worry about these. This is the last thing I want to talk about on iPortal. To me, this is super important. Have you guys played around? Well, not played with it, but have you used this EasySave or seen somebody use it? So the resolution is a little bit off. I'm not logged in. Let me log in. Okay. So here's all my areas, okay? Let's go to underbody. When you make a change, whether it's to the drawing package, to the visualization, ID Pro, to your lenses drives, your camera configuration, your PLC, your safety, maybe you've got a VinScribe machine, to your SICK, safety devices, or your templates, which we'll talk about those templates later. You have to save it to the server. Okay? And for many reasons. But when you make a change, you've got to save it. So after this class, everyone will have access to this. And let's just take a look. For step 7 on underbody 61, we've saved 191 times to the server, okay, over the course of the project so far. We can see the last one saved was saved on January 23rd by Richard. Okay, does everybody know Richard?
No.
I like Richard, he's funny. He made a description of what he changed. And so when you walk up to an HMI, you're not supposed to open the project from the local directory, from the CMW projects. You're supposed to open it from the server. So you always guarantee that you've got the latest one. So that's why it's so important to archive if you make a change. We get into a lot of trouble when people don't follow this rule. Okay? Also, it'll tell you, see how this is highlighted blue? Can you guys see back in the back, this is blue?
Yeah. The last one?
Does this look blue to you, this color? Yeah. If it's green, that means what I have locally matches what's on the server. Okay? But even if it's green, it's a good idea to open from the server. So let's say Edgar made a change, right? He found a problem that was causing production problems. So what he can do after he makes this save you can say archive. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to make a change. But it'll ask him, it'll say, hey, what's the reason? What did you change? And the more descriptive you can say what the change was, the better. Because maybe he made a change and he screwed up and he broke something instead of fixing it, right? Well, then the guy that comes in the next shift, they're still having that problem. He can say, man, Edgar changes. Let me go look real quick at this to see if it's okay, right? This is for anything you do. Any software change needs to be archived here. Okay? And let's say you want to open it. You can just say open from server. It says, hey man, I'm going to blow away what's on your computer and use this instead. Okay? So now I've got the same file that Richard archived. I've got it here on my. I've got it here, and that's how you're supposed to open PLC files. And if I had firewall access, I could go online right now. With any of these. Have you guys seen people use this?
It's looks like a watchdog.
Like a watchdog?
Yeah. If you're using VW.
Okay, they've got a similar archiving system.
Version dog. Watchdog, not version dog.
Version dog. Okay.
You see that?
But it's nice because let's say.
See, you can compare, for example, programs from the same kind of lines, like AS or say 62 and 72, and you can compare both programs.
Everybody hear what Edgar said? So I told you it's like we have two different body shops, right? But it's almost the exact same equipment.
Yeah.
And module 2 was done first. And so there's some things on module 2 that are working that they haven't implemented on module 1 yet. So they might say to you, hey man, this roller bed, it's behaving differently than it does on module 1. Or, sorry, it's working on module 2, we want it to work the same way on module 1. Okay, you can go here, you can find the one you want to compare against, and you can open it on your local machine, so you don't have to walk all the way to module 2, get the file. You get the latest file, and then you can compare it. And it's a quick way, like Edgar was saying, to see the difference between the two modules. That's how we solved the problem the other day on HC. We weren't sending a telegram that module 2 was sending. We needed to send that same telegram on module 1. So we opened up the module 2 program, saw the difference.
Copy paste.
Copy paste.
Nice work.
And it worked. Have you guys seen like people use this? Is this if you've been on the floor for a little while, you should have seen some of your mentors using this. If they're not using it, you need to tell them to use it because it's important. You know what also is important, it's nice, is let's say something's not right and you want to see how it's supposed to be wired, right? You want to see how what the drawing package says. You can click this drawing button and say open from the server. It should open it. Maybe it's not. Maybe I've got to go in here and do it. C. It'll be on the D drive for you guys, right? Which line was it? UB61? Here's my drawings. And here's everything. And you can use find. The search works good on this. So it's at your fingertips, okay? All the information you should need to troubleshoot your problem. And really the only two buttons you need to remember are open from server and archive. If you don't know, just ask one of your colleagues if you forget. But once you start using this,
Can I open an old one or just a
yeah.
new one?
There is a way to do that. I never. Let's see. If you want to open an old one, it doesn't ask you. I think you have to do copy to. Is that it?
You have a list.
Ah, there you go. So you can do let's say you want version 184. Let's say man Fernando, he screwed it up bad. So we want the version before him, right? You can copy that to a local place on your machine. That's a good question though. Can't trust Fernando, man. I don't know. But it's any kind of software. Are any of you guys Lenza guys? Any of you guys Lenza have the Lenza training?
No.
Me neither. But the file's stored here as well. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Well, that's it as far as iPortal. Okay. When we get back from lunch, we'll go through the PLC document. Any questions about anything we covered this morning? So guys, the most important thing is just know the tools are there. You don't have to remember where they are yet. Just know the ideas that you've seen. Okay, well just come back around 12. Is that what y'all did yesterday? Take about an hour for lunch?